A father and his 5-year-old son are hiding inside a locked subway station bathroom. Outside, someone is banging on the door, demanding to be let in, but the man on the inside doesn't move. He presses his leg against the door, using everything he has left to hold it shut. His eyes fill with tears, but he stays silent because his son is asleep in his lap, too young to understand that this bathroom is their bedroom for the night. Too young to know that his father is pretending this is all just a game so the child won't feel the full weight of what their lives have become. This man is Chris Gardner. Just months earlier, he had a wife, an apartment, and a plan. Now he has no home, no money, and no guarantee that tomorrow will be any better than today. But he clings to the hope that he can still build a future for his son. Back in 1981, San Francisco, Chris Gardner is a struggling salesman trying to hold his family together. He's invested everything he has into portable bone density scanners, expensive medical devices he believes doctors will want. On paper, it sounds like a smart move. In reality, it's a disaster. The machines are too costly, too hard to sell, and every day they remain unsold pushes his family closer to the edge. Chris spends his days dragging these heavy scanners from office to office, trying to convince doctors to take a chance on a machine that costs more than they want to pay. Some listen, most don't, and every rejection lands harder because it isn't just a failed sale, it's unpaid rent, empty accounts, and one more argument waiting for him at home. At home, things are already falling apart. His wife Linda is exhausted, bitter, and tired of surviving one bill at a time. She works endlessly, only to come home and see that nothing is changing. Chris believes he's one breakthrough away from turning their lives around. Linda believes they're sinking, and the cruel truth is that both of them are right. But in the middle of all this stress, there's one pure thing in Chris's life: his son, Christopher.
Chris loves that boy with everything in him. He knows what it feels like to grow up without a father, and he has sworn that his son will never know that pain, no matter how bad life gets. No matter how badly he fails everywhere else, he will not fail at being there for his child. One day, Chris sees something he can't ignore. A man steps out of a sleek car, dressed sharply, moving with the confidence of someone whose life makes sense. Chris asks him what he does. The answer is simple: stockbroker.
Then Chris asks the most important question of all: how do you become one? And when the man tells him you don't need some elite background, just the ability to work with numbers and people. After hearing his response, Chris feels something he hasn't felt in a long time: hope. That one conversation plants a dangerous idea in his mind. Maybe he's been fighting the wrong battle. Maybe those scanners were never his future. Maybe his way out is somewhere else entirely. Soon after, Chris meets Jay Twistle from Dean Witter. He solves a Rubik's Cube during a cab ride, casually proving how quick and sharp his mind really is. It's the kind of encounter that seems small, but ends up changing everything. That moment earns Chris a shot at an internship at Dean Witter. But there's a catch. Actually, there are several. The internship lasts 6 months. It pays absolutely nothing. 20 people will compete for it, and only one will get the actual job. For most people, that would be a reason to walk away. For Chris Gardner, it becomes the only chance he has left. Then comes the day before his interview. He's trying to keep his housing situation from completely falling apart. He agrees to paint his apartment just to buy a little more time. But before the day is over, the police show up and arrest him over unpaid parking tickets. He spends the entire night in jail. Now imagine this. You finally get the opportunity of a lifetime, the chance to sit in front of powerful men who could change your future forever. And you show up straight from jail, exhausted, unwashed, wearing paint-splattered clothes. That should have been the end of the story. But somehow, it isn't. And hey, if you enjoy deep, emotional movie stories like this, please like and subscribe to encourage this channel. It really helps. Thank you. Chris walks into that interview with nothing except nerve and honesty. He knows how ridiculous he looks. They know how ridiculous he looks. But instead of hiding from it, he owns it. And in that room, his appearance stops mattering, because what they really see is hunger, intelligence, and the kind of determination that can't be faked. Against all odds, Chris gets the internship. It should feel like the beginning of his new life. Instead, it marks the start of his worst nightmare. 20 interns compete, and only one gets the full-time job at the end. For someone already drowning in bills, it sounds almost impossible. But impossible is no longer enough to scare Chris. When life takes everything, Linda has had enough. She can't take the instability anymore. She can't keep drowning beside him. So she leaves for New York, and Christopher stays with Chris. Now, he isn't just a struggling husband anymore. He's a single father with no steady income, carrying a child through a future he can barely control. And life turns merciless. Chris's bank account is stripped down even further. The IRS takes what little he has left. Rent finally catches up to him. He and his son are evicted. They bounce from shelters to motels to train stations, always one missed payment away from sleeping outside. And because the internship is unpaid, every hour he spends chasing a better future is also an hour he's not earning enough to survive the present. Chris is living two completely different lives at once. By day, he's in an office, wearing a tie, making cold calls, smiling like he belongs in the world of finance. By night, he's racing across the city with his son, desperate to find a place to sleep before every bed is taken. And through all of it, he keeps protecting Christopher. He turns misery into make-believe. He softens every blow before it reaches his son. When they lose a place to stay, he reframes it like an adventure. When they have to sleep in terrible places, he makes up stories. He understands something devastating. If he can't give his son comfort, then he has to give him innocence. And then comes that bathroom scene. Chris and Christopher have nowhere left to go. To Christopher, it's just another strange stop in their little adventure. To Chris, it is rock bottom. When someone pounds on the door, Chris braces himself against it and cries in silence. Chris isn't just crying for himself. He's crying because he has done everything right that a father is supposed to do. Worked, fought, endured, sacrificed, and still ended up here, on a bathroom floor, trying to protect his child from the truth. But Chris does not give up, and that's what makes him extraordinary. At Dean Witter, he realizes he cannot afford to work like everyone else. He cuts wasted time out of everything. He finds faster ways to make calls. He pushes past protocol. He studies relentlessly. Every second matters, because unlike the other interns, Chris isn't chasing prestige. He is literally trying to earn his child a place to sleep. That difference changes the entire weight of his effort. To everyone else in that office, this is a career opportunity. To Chris, it is survival dressed up as ambition. He even reaches out directly to wealthy prospects, finding ways to create chances that technically shouldn't exist for him. One of those connections leads to an invitation to a San Francisco 49ers game, where he gets the rare opportunity to move closer to the kind of people who can actually change his future. He studies for the stockbroker licensing exam while carrying the crushing burden of homelessness and fatherhood. What's almost unbelievable is how hard he works to hide his suffering. He doesn't want pity. He doesn't want excuses. He doesn't want anyone at the office to know that the man sitting next to him in a dress shirt has nowhere to sleep at night. In one painful moment, he even lends one of his bosses $5 for cab fare, even though that money means far more to him than it does to the man borrowing it. He refuses to let desperation redefine his dignity. Finally, the 6 months are over. Chris is called into a room with the firm's partners. He sits there, trying to stay composed, wearing a nice shirt because he wants to look ready, even if he has no idea what's about to happen. Then the words come. He got the job. Out of all the interns, he is the one they chose. And for the first time in what feels like forever, Chris allows himself to feel it. Not with some huge dramatic speech, not with celebration, just with tears he's been holding back for months. The
Pursuit of Happyness isn't just a movie about success. It's a movie about what a person can survive when giving up is not an option.